Hey neighbor, today we're going to go over some things about seed starting. We're going to talk about germination mats, heat mats, some people call them one or the other, and domes. Some of the details that will help you with your seed starting endeavor. Well, what is a heat mat? A heat mat, or germination mat, some people call it, is simply a mat that radiates heat. Now, heat is an important part of seed starting or germination. Germination is actually when that seed busts out of the seed, actual seed part out, and when it starts putting out that leaf, it's the first part of the life of that plant. And it's the most critical because things have to be right for that to happen. That's where most people fail at seed starting, is at the germination part. So we got to have the right heat. Another important factor is humidity. Humidity is important also to help those seeds bust out of that, help those plants bust out of that seed and start growing. So heat mats help with that because they radiate heat out. There's some tricks to these germination or heat mats that most people don't know that I'm going to share with you today. And these things will help you be successful with your seed starting endeavor. Now, why is seed starting important? Well, in my humble opinion, I think it's a skill set that most people should have. Seed starting, for a lot of people, is kind of like gambling. You don't know what you're going to get. So you try it, and if you hit on it, fine. If you miss on it, fine. But with some practice and some knowledge here, you can be fairly confident of your seed starting abilities. The great thing about seed starting is you can start plants or start seeds to grow out your plants whenever you want them. So you don't have to rely on the nurseries, the big box stores to have plants when you want to plant those. Another thing too, you can plant whatever variety you want. If you don't know seed starting and practice it, then you have to rely on the nurseries or the big box stores to give you a variety they have to offer. May not be one that's well suited for your area, may not be one you want to grow, but if you can grow your own seeds, you're in control of when you want to grow them and what variety, which I think is a huge benefit. I've been growing plants for a long, long time. It's actually fun. Now, I think there's a lot of science involved into it, but I actually think there's some art to it as well. There's some feel to it. Once you do it a few times and be successful, understand the basics of it, heck, you'll have it down pat and it won't be a problem, and it'll be a lot of fun. All right, heat mats, germination mats comes in different sizes, styles, all that kind of stuff, price points. Now, one thing that you want to make sure is you get you a heat mat that has a thermostat with it. The little cheap ones that they sell that don't have the thermostat, I don't recommend. The thermostat helps you regulate the heat of that mat here. This thermostat right here comes preset when you get it at 80 degrees, and you can set it anywhere from 68 to 108. And the way you set it is you mash, that's kind of a southern term there, you push the set button there, give it just a minute, and you'll see that start blinking. Then you can set up or down. I'm going to move this one all the way to 108 to the highest temperature there. Now, this is something most people won't tell you or they don't know. Heat mats work great, but they only move the temperature of your medium of your soil in your seed starting tray 10 to 15 degrees from ambient temperature. Now, ambient temperature is what the temperature is naturally. It's about 48 degrees out here now. So if I put seeds on my mat right here, and I was trying to germinate it, and I still had it set at 108 degrees, that does not mean that my tray is going to get 108 degrees. It means it's only going to get 10 to 15 degrees above ambient temperature. If I was at 100 degrees ambient temperature, yeah, I could probably get to 108 degrees in my seed starting mix. But it doesn't mean that it's going to get to 108 regardless of what outside temperature it is. So that's the reason it's important to know what your ambient temperature is in relationship to what you want to germinate your seeds with. On our germination mat here, you can see right here, it has a list of the different plants there with the optimal soil temp right there, which you want to germinate. Let's take tomatoes, for instance, right here. Tomatoes is 85 degrees. Well, at 85 degrees, I would want an ambient temperature of about 70 degrees to get the maximum out of this mat and have my tomatoes at 85 degrees. Hope that kind of makes sense to you. Onions, English peas, 75 degrees. We find that a lot of these cooler season crops, such as onions, English peas, have a lower germination soil temp, but our warm season stuff like our squash and our tomatoes, peppers, all those like it really warm. So you have that on our seed starting mat there, which is kind of neat. Another thing, folks, is this right here. You see that right there? That's UL. Now, UL means that it was tested, and that's a safety, a seal of approval, a safety thing there. You know, we're going to have these things in our house. More than likely, we're going to have them in our extra room, or we're going to have them in our carport, because remember the ambient temperature. If it's 40 degrees outside, we need to have these things indoors somewhere where we've got our ambient temperature up if we're trying to germinate tomatoes. So we want something that's safe. This UL seal of approval right there is important because it's been tested. We know it's fairly safe. We're going to be getting water on this thing right here. So we want something that's going to be safe for our family. Know that it's not going to short out and cause any problems there. So don't go cheap on your heat mats, because it's not only a thing that's going to help you to be productive on your seeds, it's kind of a safety thing too. All right, let's talk about sizes here. The smallest one that we sell is what we call the 120 volts, which is actually 9 by 19 and a half. And it is a little on the small side, but this is ideal for people that don't have much room, or they don't have a lot they need to grow. So our 12 cell is perfect for that. Now, go ahead and explain one thing to you. See how it's curled up right there? And we sell these things, they're rolled up, tighter than that right there. So when you get them, you're gonna need to place them out and put something on them. If you let them stay out there flat for a day or two, then they'll get flat. I actually unrolled this one this morning for the video here. But this smaller one, this 9 by 19 and a half, is perfect for the 12 cell, or even the 24 cell. Now the 24 cell takes up most of it there. That's about as large of a flat as you're gonna be able to put on that, but you can put 24 plants on this particular germination mat. Perfect for somebody that didn't have a very big garden and don't need to start many plants. The next one, size up we have, we call it the 100 watt one right here. Now this is the 20.75 times 48 inches. Now this one is perfect for our 162 tray, our 338 tray, and a little inside information here. We got some 128s that we're going to be having next year. So we'll have 128s before you know it on our website as well. Same size tray, just 128, bigger cell size there. Regardless, this one right here, the 100 watt one here, is ideal for that size right there. Actually, you got some room left over so that you could put a 12 or a 24 size on it as well there. All right, for you guys that like to garden big like I do, we have the bigger mats, the 150 watt. This is 60 inches by 21 inches wide. Now this particular mat is big enough for 2 of our bigger PropTech trays. And you can buy this, use it just like it is, or we have an add-on mat that you can add on. And we call this the master mat right here, because this is one that hooks up to the thermostat. But you can daisy chain as many as 3 of these together. Daisy chain means you can just plug them up. So you can take these right here, that little fitting right there. Make sure I get it right there. And you can move those so that you got one thermostat, and you can daisy chain as many as 3 of these mats together. These add-on mats right there are the same size, 60 by 21. So if you guys that want to germinate a lot at one time, you can put as many as 6 of these on 3 of these mats in one timer. All right, so we've covered the germination mats. Let's talk about humidity. We want a couple of temperature, rising temperature along with humidity to get that seed to sprout open here. Now, here are the domes for our 24 cell and our 12 cell. Right here is the bottom for our 24. And these fit on there just like that right there. The problem is if you use this bottom tray right here, then that's going to act kind of as an insulator there for your tray there, and the heat's not going to get to it as well. So what I recommend, let me get all this out of the way here, is taking your 12 cell or your 24 cell, if you're going to use these domes right here, and put that just on top of it like that right there, and do not use your bottom tray while you're germinating those plants. As soon as you get them germinated, hey, these are fine to use. This will keep your water from getting all over the place. It's a catch basin there, so that's wonderful. It's just not going to work itself well in the germination process. Here we have this right here. We can use that right there. Those fit on there is nice. Now what that's going to do is that's going to raise our humidity. Our target humidity for seed starting is going to be 100%. Now we may not get that, but that's our target there. The commercial guys with commercial greenhouses have these germination chambers. Inside these germination chambers, they normally run about 85 degrees temperature and 100 degrees humidity. And they'll put their they'll put their seed starting trays in there for 24 to 48 hours, and it causes those seeds to pop, to emerge. In the home garden situation, we want to try to get 100%. We may not get that, but if we can get close to that, we're okay. And we do that with these humidity domes. We can use like this right here. Now these are the ones we have there. We also have a deluxe. Our deluxe is a little heavier duty there, and it's got vents on it there. It's a different kind of plastic. It's way more rigid. Same thing. I would recommend not using the bottom tray during the time that we are going to get their seeds to germinate. I would, let's put it this way, simply put my humidity dome on top of that until I seen those seeds sprout. Then I would take them off. So that's another thing too. When do you take your domes off? When do you take your trays off the heat mat? Well, ideally, when you see that little bit of green, that plant emerging, the heat tray, the humidity dome has done their job. But if you're not needing to use your heat mat for another round for seed starting, you can also use it as supplemental heat. I do this all the time, especially in my greenhouse. If I'm not starting something right back in, I would just leave them on that, and that helps supplement my heat, because a lot of times it's cool, especially in the early spring, and I need those plants a little bit warmer. So leaving them on there is fine to get them started. If you need the room to start more seeds, I move them off and start more. Humidity domes, that's a different situation. Humidity is great for getting those seeds to bust out and start, but once you seed that plant, then you need to remove that dome so that that plant can get air. Humidity, especially 100% humidity, causes a lot of our disease problems there, so we don't want that. If you plan on using a humidity dome that has vents in there, such as this one right here, you want to make sure that you open these vents up so that those plants, when they emerge, can get some fresh air in there. This right here, especially if you got it in sunlight, will help heat up and supplement your heat some on those plants here. The downside is that you really got to watch that humidity, and that's the reason I don't like to use these once my plants emerge. I don't mind using this one here because these are vented and we can control that. Well, let's just say you don't have any of this and you want to start some seeds. This is a method you can use that will help with that. You can take some cling wrap, this is Glad Cling and Seal, any kind of saran wrap. After you plant your seeds in there, you want to make sure that you got moisture in there, that your potting medium there is good and wet. And you can wrap it up in this saran wrap. And what this will do is this will hold that moisture in there and make that humidity rise. Now, you're probably going to have some type of supplemental heat there. You got a heat mat, this will work on that if you don't have a humidity dome. I've done this before with seedless watermelons because they can be kind of problematic to get to pop. But you can use this method, put it right on your germination mat there. If you don't have a germination mat, this might work in the windowsill there, but you probably need some type of heat to heat it up so that those seeds will germinate there. It's a great method right here to use if you're getting a pinch there. You got to be careful. You got to keep an eye on this. The only downside of this is if you let those seeds come through there and you don't remove this, then it's going to stifle them and cause them to die. I lost some watermelons like that one time. I went off fishing and forgot about them. I got back, they had died. Even though they sprouted and come up, I didn't remove the wrap there. So if you use this method here, you really got to check them pretty often. probably twice a day. First time you see them sprouting, take this right here off. But it works good if you get in a pinch. All right, folks, so this is what we after here. See that nice lettuce plant there? To be able to start your own seeds, it's going to be easy. Don't let it intimidate you. I hope I've explained today how these germination mats work. 10 to 15 degrees above ambient temperature. Most likely you're going to need to start them inside your house, or if you have a greenhouse that you can regulate the temperature in, it'd be wonderful too. Most of your warm season stuff is going to be around the 85 degree stuff. Your cool season stuff is going to be around 75 degrees there. Heat mats, a wonderful way to supplement that heat for seed starting. Domes work well for your humidity. Just keep in mind you got to remove them, especially when those seeds start to pop through. If you use one of the better ones there, you can regulate that with the vents there on top. Hope this helps. Don't be intimidated. Get out there and try starting your own seeds. I think you'll enjoy it.